Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is October the 18th. It is actually Tuesday morning, pre-session, a few moments before the market actually opens. And I'm going to share with you and discuss with you why was it so hard for me to actually start trading from the beginning, And it wasn't until I actually kind of bumped into or found out about this hidden trading secret that I'm going to share with you that really turned my trading around, okay? And most of you guys who actually watch the channel have been watching for several months now, and as well as joined the Discord community, which we'll talk about later on here in the video, already know how I actually trade using a simple trading strategy surrounding supply and demand. But I want to share with you today, why was it just so hard for me to get started from the beginning? Stay tuned, watch the intro, and we'll jump right into the video. Now, most of you who have already probably are kind of experienced traders or somewhere several years into your actual trading career, whatever the case is, whether you're full-time or part-time, already know that if I've already bumped into that wall, that barrier that you had to kind of figure out and either dig under or jump over, whatever the case is, but you went back and you found out what it was that kind of allowed your trading to suffer. And whether it was going back to the drawing board, trying to figure out, what part of your trading plan just didn't work, with your strategy not working correctly, whatever the case is, but you figured it out in the long run, okay? And those that are watching this video today, and first-time viewers, whatever the case is, you're a beginner trader, trying to figure out, carve out your path in this trading business, I will tell you this right now, okay? The key to success, and you have to have, is a solid strategy, okay? At least one in your arsenal, at least one tactic to be able to use to where you can, stick to it each and every day, be disciplined, structured in your trading, and trade that strategy day in and day out and don't deviate from it, okay? Lots of us may have several strategies that we actually use, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I'm more of a simplistic type person, and most of my strategy and trading surrounds supply and demand. And I say this time and time again, if you do not know about supply and demand, this is where I tell you to stop. Do some homework, some research. I even have videos here on the channel that you can go back and kind of find supply and demand videos and watch it. I highly recommend you learn it, okay? Because to me, it is the cornerstone to my trading, the bread and butter to actually how I trade each and every day. And it's just very impactful because we're getting into areas where there's a lot of aggressive buying and selling in the market. And I talk about that in my videos because would you rather get into the move on a pullback halfway into the move, or would you rather get into the move, where price pulls back to the area where, the buying started it or the selling started it? I want to get in where I can get in at a low price and buy the market. I want to, get in where the market is high and sell. So where there's aggressive selling, I want to get in where it started it. Where there's aggressive buying, I want to get in where it started it, okay? I don't want to be taking my trade 50% back into a pullback, whatever the case is. Because that's, to me, it's like, if you really take a look at it, it's more so situations where you're buying right at or selling right at support and resistance, whatever the case is, on breakout, or what I call break and retest, okay? So, anyways, but let me talk to you about what turned my trading around, and I've shared this before, but I really want to kind of dig deeper into it because the fact is it's highly important that you really, first of all, devise a trading plan, okay? And stick by that. Use it as your holy grail, your Bible, something that you have on your desk, set off to the side, something that you have a mental picture of in your mind, and follow it each and every day. Every step of it, follow it, and don't deviate from it. But the key to really performing and doing well is having a solid strategy in your arsenal, okay? All right? At least one, like I said, because without it, you're going off of what other people may be doing or what they say, testing it, whatever the case is. And we've all followed that, that downward spiral to where we've, try to learn something that somebody's taught us or watched a video or something and said, I'm going to implement that in my trading, whatever the case is. I'm going to try that strategy. How many trading strategies have you used time and time and time again? I've used tons of them in the beginning. I used tons of indicators and they didn't work out. So my trading just became harder and harder, and I kept digging a hole more and more for myself, because I was trying everything under the sun, and those things did not work out for me. So what I'm really trying to say is that you have to really basically spend time researching and really making something your own, creating something that's going to actually work for you, because another trader strategy may not work for you. You know, maybe you don't understand it. Maybe it just isn't working out for you, because the simple fact is that they may be a swing or position style trader, whatever the case is. You may be wanting to scout, and that strategy that they actually use is used for bigger plays in the market, or whatever the case is. I'm a scalper, so now with supply and demand, it doesn't matter if you swing trade, position trade, or you're intraday scalper, or whatever the case is. It works in all factors. It works in all periods, time frames, whatever the case is. It's just you have to be able to craft a strategy around supply and demand, like I have. And I'm not telling you to use my actual strategy. I'm just basically just letting you know, laying it out, just telling you that you have to have a strategy, okay? And for me, it wasn't until I actually discovered supply and demand and how to actually trade it, what it was, until I became profitable, until I became successful. Not right off the bat, the moment I understood what supply and demand was, because I had to go about, okay, now I understand supply and demand. I understand how it's so impactful, why it's so important, why people trade it, why the banks and the institutions, are basically leaving footprints behind, whatever the case is. You see a lot of buying coming out of a certain area, a lot of selling coming out of a certain area. Who do you think is making those power plays like that? That's the institutions and the banks. So as retail traders, we want to trade like them, right? We don't want to trade against them. Why would you want to trade against them? That's the way to make money in this business. It's not like playing a regular board game and trying to outbeat your opponent, whatever the case is. The banks and institutions, we have to move with them. We want to use them and kind of grab their coattail and ride to the top with them, okay? And try to gain as much as we can profit-wise, and that's how we become successful, is understanding and how they manipulate the market, whatever the case is, how they move the market. We want to be able to understand that through the means of understanding market structure and reading price action, looking for those power points in the footprint in the market what they're leaving behind, and that's those supply and demand areas. So that's where the things kind of unfolded for me. For me, that was the secret that I didn't really know about. I'm not really saying that it's the holy grail or anything like that, but it was a secret that I didn't really know about, and someone kind of mentioned supply and demand to me, and I started digging. I started doing my homework, and that's how I became successful in my trading today. Was no one taught me. I had to go get it myself. I had to sit here and do the homework and research, and it took time. I mean, it was a lot of page turning, a lot of tearing of pages and throwing them away and starting fresh. But it just all came together at one point. And I will tell you this, honestly speaking, it did not happen until I truly understood supply and demand. Okay, those impactful areas that are highly important, where there's just burst in the market, where prices, leaving just power plays in the market, just lots of aggressive buying or selling. And I'll show you a couple of instances here on my chart here of what I'm talking about. This is not the 12 range chart, but these are some entries from yesterday, whatever the case is. Now, the higher the time frame, the bigger the move you're going to actually see when it comes to, supply or demand areas. Lower time frames, it's going to get, those areas are going to get smaller, but still, once you can clearly see or identify or locate supply and demand zones on a higher time frame chart, all you have to do is scale down to a lower time frame chart. The same way, it's just adjusting, your eyes and your mind to be able to see things, those areas that, even the smaller areas in the market, or whatever the case is. But I highly recommend you definitely taking a look at supply and demand. I'm telling you, it was the secret, something that it took me a while to, discover, and it wasn't until I actually discovered it that I became successful. So here's the 12 range chart. We'll talk about it right quick. And most of you guys probably can point out these areas in the market. I boxed them off that are, supply or demand areas. And I may have missed a couple. I'm not saying it because as traders, we don't catch everything, right? We can't see every particular level. So, I mean, it's kind of the beauty in it too. It's like, my eyes are trained to kind of look for zones or levels that make sense to me. Okay, so this was a supply area right here. Anybody that that knows why, because price made a high here, pulled back, made a higher high, broke structure right here. On the breaking structure downside, you can mark that area of supply, right? Then there's demand sitting right here, because as price was moving lower here, it turned back around, it broke structure right here, leaving areas of demand behind, okay? Supply resting right here. As price pushed up, made a high, pulled back, higher high. What did it do? Pulled lower, breaking structure right here, breaking this bottom end of the support. And all we're doing is wait for price to come back to these areas. So, you mark it, all they are structure breaks, pretty much, where the market pushes lower, break structure, and it's leaving a footprint behind. Small area of supply right here, a little bit of aggressive selling, okay? Price pulls back for it, or back to it. All you're doing is wait for price to pull back to those areas. Price breaks higher, taking out structure right here. And it's each one of these little swings are tucked back into them is an area of demand in a sense that you can wait for price to pull back to. Now some are, probably would be higher probability than others. And I'll talk about this in videos as well. Tested and untested zones, whatever the case is. And then also you can pay attention to. I'm gonna show you right here. This right here was a setup for an area of supply. Price, like I said, made a high here, pulled back, made a higher high right here. Then it starts to break lower. It broke structure right here, broke this area of support. But it also broke this area of support right here. And on the move to the downside, what do you see? As price pushed lower, all this aggressive selling, what did it do here? It left behind an unfilled area, but a lot of selling came from that area. So you mark the supply zone, wait for price to come back to it. I'm looking for a tap into it, okay, which means that price has to come back on the retracement or pullback to tap back into this zone, okay? Pulls back to it. It took, let's see, this happened around 10:20, and this happened around 2 o'clock yesterday for it to actually tap back into that zone. So, like I said, 2 o'clock here, it taps back into the zone. Okay, wait for some rejection, or you can scale down to a lower time frame chart, like a 4-range chart, and see if you get some type of formation of showing you rejection on the lower time frame chart. So that's pairing charts together. I'll mark, say for instance, right here, this is my 12-range chart. I'll mark supply and demand zones. I could trade directly off of this chart, but I recommend, and my strategy I actually use, I like to implement it and show you how to trade using the 12 and the 4 range, say for instance, as paired charts, or you can use the 60 range, mark your zones from, and then scale down to a lower time frame chart like the 12 range chart, and wait for it to pull back to those zones off a higher time frame chart. Look for the rejection on the lower time frame. Take your trade. Okay. So I talk about all those and I share that strategy in so many of my videos here on the channel. And if you go back and watch some of the videos on the channel that are titled Supply and Demand, just go to the homepage and then that little magnifying glass, enter in supply and demand. There's probably several supply and demand videos that you can watch, and it goes through the strategy and how I use it. Okay. So that was an area of supply right here. Price tap back into it. So basically, what I'm just trying to tell you is that you probably can identify some other areas to where there's supply and demand zones. If we looked at, this is actually today's trading session, like right here, say for instance, price overnight made a high here, pullback, made a higher high here, broke lower, broke through this area of support here. What happens? Price pulls back. Now, we didn't tap right back into this area yet, so I wouldn't count that. To the tick. Let's say, for instance, I want to see price pull back up to this area right here. It hasn't done that, so I wouldn't count that right now. So let's see. Eventually, it did tap back into it right here, but it didn't happen until 7:50 this morning, say for instance. But it did tap into this area of supply, and if you take a look at it, I'll show you when price made a move. Mark this area right here. Whoops, bring it out a little further right here. When price left this area and broke structure right here to the downside, it left behind not a gap, but there was area to fill. So price, when price, with all this aggressive selling come on the market, eventually when price pulls back into it, it's going to have some type of rejection because it's untested as well on the move to the downside and this area to fill on the way back to the upside right here. Okay, all right. So when it finally filled that void there, coming back up to this area right here, or filling this area to fill, when price would retrace back up, you can almost bet there's going to be some type of reaction. But this is off a lower time frame chart, the 12-range chart, but there will be some reaction to possibly get into a short. And if you just pay attention many more times throughout, and looking at your charts, you'll be able to identify those areas of supply and demand. Let's see if we can find another area here. Let's see, right here, price made a low here, pull back, made a lower low, then it broke back, it broke structure right here. What do you think is down here? this is an area of demand. If you haven't already, discovered that, but that's an area of demand. Price pulls back to it, okay, to the tick, right here to the bottom. This is the area of demand. You can mark off, mark off, pulls back, rejects, pushes higher. So that's all we're doing is marking supply and demand zones and waiting for a pullback. But the thing about it is, like how I talk about and discuss in my videos, the pair chart entry works best, especially for beginner traders, because it gives you a double means or double layer of confirmation or confluence to be able to trade from, okay? So I highly recommend using pair charts, especially if you're a beginner trader. But like I said, I'm telling you, the secret to my trading, or the secret that turned things around for me, was supply and demand. And it was difficult or hard for me from the beginning for the first 2 years until I actually figured out and knew what supply and demand was and how to actually trade it. So I'm just throwing those tidbits out there for you guys, giving you some sense or a word of advice, or food for thought, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it. But that's what transitioned to my turning point in my trading career, which led me to become a profitable trader. It wasn't until, okay, supply and demand, understand it. Boom, once I understood that, was a strategy next. And I devised a strategy that worked, and it works day in and day out, and I trade it day in and day out. And that's why I have tons of videos here on this channel, guys. Lots of them are my live recorded sessions where you can go back and watch me actually trade, and see the trading entries. I discuss them as well. But we also have a great Discord community, so I want to talk about that. If you're interested in joining the Discord, it is free of charge. All you have to do is find the link down in the description portion of this video, or any video here on the channel. Click on the link for Discord, for the Discord link, and invite yourself in for free of charge. I'm gonna pull up now the Discord so you can see it. This is our Discord community for this channel here. We have well over 400 members, and you may be asking, what is the Discord? It is a place for like-minded traders. If you're a futures trader and you're interested in trying to find a community that you can become part of, primarily most traders here are following each and every day the MES or the ES, which is the micro or the E-mini S&P 500. But it doesn't matter because, the strategy that most of us are, well, I'm not going to say most of us are using, because a lot of people are kind of beginner traders or in between actually trying to learn to trade, whatever the case is. But they are starting to understand more so what I'm trying to say, the strategy of how I trade, and they're starting to incorporate it into their own trading. Now, there are traders as well that use their own strategies, whatever the case is, and there's a place for that in the channel where they share, which is in the general chat, whatever the case is. Nothing wrong with that. You guys sharing your strategies. But most people who have joined and become part of this community are wanting to understand or possibly learn, the way I actually trade and use the strategy I do. And then we have a lot of traders in the channel as well who have picked up on the way I trade. I'm not an instructor. I'm not a teacher. I don't have a mentorship program or anything like that. I'm just sharing the information that I know in hopes that it inspires other people. So that's why I'm sharing my strategy and the way I trade. A lot of individuals, what I'm trying to say on Discord, have picked up on the way I trade using strategy and are doing extremely well. So hats off to them. And if you're interested in becoming part of the team and picking up or understanding or grasping the knowledge, the strategy I use, and wanting to converse with fellow like-minded traders like yourself who are future traders, come on board. Find the link down below in the description portion of this video. Invite yourself in, and it's free of charge, like I said. Outside of that, that's pretty much all I have for you. I just want to talk about supply and demand and how it is can be the holy grail if you want to call it that, but to me it is my holy grail in a sense, because it wasn't until I actually found it that it actually turned my trading around. So that's all I have for you guys in this video, and I want to wish everyone a safe trading day, and I'll see you in the next video as well. Take care and have a great trading day as well.